Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time again to spill more realities. We get into all the looks, laughs, and legendary moments of the season finale of Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World Season 2, where our final four queens battled it out in a lip sync for the final crown. But before we talk all about all the tea, let's introduce my co-caster. We set up an entire season just to give this bitch the mother-pucking crown. It's QuackrrJack. Jack, as quickly as the season started, it's already ended. What were your overall final thoughts on this final episode? And also, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. And, one thing that I thought was interesting about this All Stars, I mean, it's versus the world, but it's an All Stars, right? Like, I thought it was interesting that this one didn't feel rigged. Like, as much as it could have been by production and done dirty and whatnot, let's not act like the person who ends up winning this whole thing wasn't high and winner the whole season long. They were like top, 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 top wins twice. Like, I mean, come on. There is one time when you could justify Lemon not being in the top is during the ball. You could justify her being safe, but that doesn't take much away, if anything, from the track record. It was an amazing season for her. So proud of her.
I mean, I'm here for the zest too, honestly. Honestly, and when it comes down to it, I don't think there was very much rigging at all too. I get that there's a lot of allegations of favoritism here and there, but I mean, I didn't see it really too much. And even in instances where I feel like people are probably saying there might have been favoritism in certain areas, I'm like, I still don't see how any of that really would have affected the season. I mean, like, I wanted to do like a how we would have judged the season video, but I mean, like, I think we're both kind of in the same mindset that I think we wouldn't really probably would have changed that much. Um, so I think the only negative for me again, it was kind of short, but ultimately the season was it long enough here for you, Jack, to have any standout moments ultimately that will carry for you?
You know what? I think we saw a lot of really fun interpretations of challenges here. And I really enjoyed the experience overall, but also the willingness to just change up the format completely. I think the Beaver really just is like a big standout moment because instead of, deciding exactly who's going home, you're deciding which girl's getting a save and which two girls have to fight it out. And I think that's like a better format in like girls are still gonna be mad, there's still something to compete about, but it's not gonna be as bad as like, well, you sent me home even though I was clearly the winner. Like, yes, I'm still gonna be like, you just saved the girl who definitely was the worst of the week, but there's more of a strategy. It feels like that way.
He does ask Fierce, she can get mad about anything, right?
I mean, yeah, sure. Like she felt sabotaged. I felt like if anyone was getting sabotaged, it was Cheryl. So
Yeah, we gotta get into some overall moments here because I definitely have a lot to speak about Cheryl, honestly, as well here too. But I'd say for me, as far as like standout moments, I think something about the cast synergy. Like, there's just something about when you could tell when there's a good group of people, sorry, a good vibe between people, and this felt like a very playful yet serious cast. You know, like they're all taking it very seriously, but none of them were taking it personally, other than Fierce, and maybe
yeah.
Tynomi a little bit here. So it just felt like the right mix of energy, drama, just everything felt like it just worked. I'd say something that I didn't really like as much as boot order being a little bit predictable. I felt like it was kind of the writing was on the wall for pretty much this final four making it to the end, but at the same time you only have 6 episodes, only so much time you really have to convey like a story. So I think that can only be helped really so much. So I'm willing to let that go because it was the rest of it was really good. I'd also say the whole improv challenge was probably my favorite challenge out of everything here. Definitely one of my favorite improv challenges, as well as the Clapback's girl group performances will definitely live rent free in my mind for the next few months or so until I forget about it at some point. So yeah, overall, I think it was a very strong season. Um, but speaking of Miss Fiercalicious, we can go ahead and get into our discussion on how the episode actually starts here because it does start with her elimination, y'all. At top four celebrating, making it to the end, as the girls discuss why Lemon saved Kennedy. As the last standing Canadian now can say that she has not only 2 wins under her belt, but also can say that she saved both of the American girls from being in the bottom two. We talked about this last week, but do we still agree with Lemon that this is the correct top four?
I mean, I agree that this is probably the correct top four. I just I like I said before, like I don't think I would have saved Kennedy, but like again, she is the only queen that had 2 wins as well as Lemon. So in that sense, like she is pretty deserving of making the top four. So I completely understand, and I definitely feel like Alexis would turn it out in lip sync. So you know what? Overall, yes, this is the correct top four, especially for what we saw this season.
I would say there's probably an argument for Fierce maybe over Cheryl, but that's just because they just did not value Cheryl at all, really whatsoever
Oh
this
yeah.
season. So, but looking at Cheryl's track record, she was literally like high for every week other than like one, which is kind of crazy. Um, but I want to actually go back to um, another topic revolving Fierce really quick here before we kind of dive completely into the top four, because we need to talk about how Traci Melchor is still missing here, and instead we have Serene Fox, which is fine, but like, who is she again? I mean, why is she here? Like, I was Tracy only available for maybe like first half of the season, and that's why she decided not to come back after her and Fierce got into it because that timing is just a little suspect, and I feel like I need to know the tea here. And also, still, who is Rain Fox? Who is she?
I mean, personally, with I wouldn't want to deal with the attitude either if it were me, because like she said something that we were all kind of thinking. It's fine that the girl who got the criticism didn't get it and didn't like feel it was accurate, but the rest of the room was like, "Oh sis, read the room." So like maybe it was just to prevent any other issues that might be happening, or maybe, there was some drama. I'm not sure, but I'm not mad about if she did choose to like take a break from the stage for that reason.
Because she like thinks she's on like all of the materials and whatnot is like the judging panel because usually it's her and the other two, but like Serene Fox just randomly showed up and is now here. But um, I guess that's fine. I don't know. Again, I still don't know who she is or what she does or how qualified she is, but I mean, I guess she is okay. But she introduces the Lip Sync Smackdown for the crown here, which I mean, I'm okay with just based off of this group being very strong lip syncers, but overall, I'm kind of over Lip Sync Smackdown for the crown for a little bit here. Do you have any issues on this finale format, or were you hoping that they were going to do something else than a Lip Sync Smackdown?
I don't really have a problem with the lip sync smackdown. The only issue is that at that point you're kind of saying that the track record should not matter. And if that is the case at that point, then the lip sync should be based, objectively as best as possible. Clearly art is subjective, but there's some stuff that is just completely objective. Like when someone does a really bad job in a lip sync, or when someone like kills it in a lip sync, right? Like you just kind of know when it happens. And yeah, you can have like an upset moment here or there. I feel like this is different than others, but I feel like there was at least one upset this time where we were all like, that didn't happen the way it should have. And I'm not saying the whole like let's get it correct. I am not saying that Lemon lost any lip syncs because she didn't, but
No, she didn't.
a different lip sync I definitely felt was like, that's weird. Like, that's suspicious kind of stuff. Like, so, I mean, it's that's what makes it really difficult. And especially because they take into account like the favoritism from the fans and what the response is. And so there's a lot that goes on with these like decisions. And I understand the idea of doing these like multiple crownings and then deciding at the end. But damn, do I hate it when the girl who doesn't win the lip sync wins the lip sync just to win the season. That's a really messy thing. So that's one of my issues with it. Now, this time that did not happen. So we didn't have to worry about it. But I kind of agree with you. I think there could be more to it. Like, maybe the final two get to lip sync after we've determined how the people should get from the final four or whatever to the final two.
I mean, I'm almost fine with them just doing what they did on season 16 every season and just cutting them out into a top three, then cutting someone in the top two after the last few performances, and then just have them lip sync in the end. I think that's probably the most fair way to do it. Maybe without the final three cut. No, still
The
justice for
final
playing
three was a
games.
mess, so
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, it was still justified, even though you don't think it was, but it was still justified.
oh no, I get why it happened that way, but like let's keep it 100. Like they might as well just called it the final two at that point because we knew when it became down to the fan votes and stuff, it was only going a certain way.
Well, I mean, that's kind of I think what Final Three Challenge is to some degree, I guess, in that point of view. Then would be then how does the fan reception alter the perspective of the judges who have been judging them the entire time? So I don't think that's terrible to some degree, because obviously they're gonna want a winner that their fans want usually. Usually.
Yeah.
Um, Justice for Marina Summers. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. It was I didn't have any issues with it in this situation, and I think maybe it might be something for the Canada versus the world format that they continue on here if they continue this format. If for whatever reason Global All Stars is just a one-off thing, but I don't know. Um, all the formats have issues. We're all gonna complain one way or another. Let's be real. Um, before we get to the actual lip syncs, though, let's go ahead and talk about the first like 80 minutes of the episode here. Because that's how
Ah,
long it kind of
yes.
felt here. um, as the queens do a lot of reminiscing in the workroom and getting ready for their final performances, and they have a sit-in for a royal painting with Raja O'Hara, and I'm still confused. Did Raja actually spend weeks painting these portraits, or did we take some pictures and just use paintbrush filter? Because girl, like I think we were bamboozled into thinking they were getting real portraits. Because there's no way that portrait that they started was how it ended up at the end there. I'm pretty sure that was a filter, and I'm feeling really dumb for having to talk about it. But we were really legitimately confused as what was happening with this whole segment because why set it up one way when that's not how it's actually going to be. Like, if it's going to be a photo shoot, just show it's going to be a photo shoot, right? Like, it felt really convoluted to me. And also was kind of half paying attention just because, in these finales, we have so much filler. And I'm like, we've heard their stories kind of so much at this point that I'm like, I tuned out a lot of it. So maybe that's why I was kind of confused the whole time. But,
No,
um,
they're definitely a filter. They're definitely a filter. As much as Raja is talented, she didn't do that in that amount of time. And though she did do some really good paintings, I will say, as far as like a good like 2 minute like let me just do a little dab here, a little dab there. I was shocked. I think it was Cheryl maybe who said it. Like they expected stick figures like this show did I. Maybe it was Kennedy.
no, it was Cheryl. I think it was Cheryl. Yeah.
It was Cheryl. Okay. I was like. I was like, damn, it actually like kind of got the essence of it without like drawing in the details. I was like, okay, I see you, Raja. And it was a
I was
cute
just
little nod.
laughing because it's like, could you imagine that this is how she started the painting, and all of a sudden it's like, this here it is. I was like, girl, why did you frame it like that?
I will tell you though, the girls looked beautiful in them. So like I will say I was excited because I thought those were their finale looks. I didn't realize we were getting a finale runway, which like obviously makes me very happy because I love a finale runway. So
Well, yes, we could talk about the finale looks, and actually, right now, we actually really want to, because, like I said, pretty much everything that happened before it was a lot of just inspirational content and queens repeating their motivations to win.
filler.
Did you have anything which uh, from all that you wanted to talk about, or 'cause honestly, I'm ready to kind of just jump right to the runway, right to the action.
The only thing I want to say is let me preface this by saying on the four queen looks we got, I get that Lemon was doing a tribute. It was not it for me. Um, and I also want to say, and let this be a huge disclaimer for everyone now, I am not hating on a girl specifically. And when I talk about Alexis or Kennedy and doing like more of when you get in close, you can see it's more caked on makeup. I'm not a makeup expert, let me just say that. So it would be wrong for me to like give this huge speech, but I'm just saying that like my opinion is that sometimes when the makeup doesn't look as good, it really takes away from the outfit when we get into this. That's just my
Mhm.
disclaimer.
Yeah, I will say though, I think Kenji looked out of all the looks there, I think Kenji looked so good. I was not expecting Kenji to walk out
Oh
in that
yeah,
outfit. I was
amazing.
like, oh my God, can that be your finale look? Like had it been number one, I think easily, without a doubt. But we kind of talk about what she walked out in here in a second. But um, their final runway category was Crown Me, Finale Eleganza. We kind of know the deal here. Best of the best drag. Let's talk about the girls in the order that they hit the runway, which is basically the elimination order, starting with La Kahena. And she came out breathing fire a little bit. I like the fact that she's giving a nod to the only thing that she's kind of known for on the show with her breathing fire. But now she can kind of come out with some pork chop inspired merch now too. But for this look for Kahena, I really like it. It's definitely feels like a very elevated look from what we've seen from her. Um, but in comparison to all the other looks, I still see a level of polish here that I still think she's probably working on up to this point. But this is definitely feels like uh, from what we've seen here, Lakana the most grown up I think we've ever seen. It, I don't mind. I guess specifically here, it does feel like two different outfits where like the fabric on the bottom and the her gloves kind of feel like one outfit, and then the flames, it feels a little disjointed for me personally. So it will I will say it will probably be my least favorite of the finale looks, but I do want to say that I think Lakana looks probably the best that she's ever looked, and I hope she continues to work on her style and continue her glow up from here. Jack, any thoughts on Miss Lakana's look tonight?
You know, let's start with the good about Lakahena's look, okay? All right, now let's get into the bad. So, no, her hair is good. I'm not mad at the makeup. I love the gloves, but I have to disagree with you. I feel like the gloves and the I feel like the gloves are also distorted. It looks like three different looks to me. Um, I really feel like there is a level of camp, like Tina Burner flames kind of thing going on in the top part and in the shoes, which I see match. I get it. It looks like it's supposed to be a camp thing. But she was like, "Oh shit, I didn't finish the outfit," and she grabbed some burgundy drapes and said, "This is red enough." Threw it around her, grabbed some gloves that that she had there, said, "Okay, let me like put these on." Put some jewelry on it and said, "All right, I'm walking on the stage." This looks so terrible, so cheap, so awful. Like I am disgusted. I am upset. You know, one of the best things about that is though that art should make you feel something. This is a more impactful piece than a lot of the shit I've seen at some of these art museums that do just those like lines and squares or like a full portrait of just one color and call it something like because this makes me feel a rage inside of myself that I'm like, ooh, the rage of the inferno inside of me is so much better than what you've presented on this dress of the rage inferno kind of thing of this fire. So like I'm so glad that still at this point in the competition, Laka can still upset me to a point where her art makes me feel something because that's what I think art is about, and that is the positive. Now everything else I've already described it. It's bad. We can go next. Please, let's do it.
On this note, on that note, we have LaPhil coming up next. And I don't mind this look. There's just something distracting about like how teeny tiny the shape is, and we were kind of talking about this, how like the top half and the bottom half just feel like it just doesn't really like think overlap well. Like it feels like she definitely like puts on like the skirt and then she just puts on like the top half afterwards as like a second piece. Like it probably isn't. It's probably all actually attached to just one dress, but there's just something about the shape about it. It's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Like it's just a little too narrow. in certain areas. But otherwise, I love the idea and the concept and the fabric and everything of it, other than something about the front part of it too. Just, I don't know, it looks a little less elevated than I was expecting from a Phil, I think, personally. But overall, I think she looks good, but I would say still one of my lower end looks of the night. Mm. Thoughts on the Phil's look?
So I really like the concept. Let's talk about it first. When she puts up her arms to the side, it's supposed to create those like 5 points essentially around her to make it look like referencing a crown. Conceptually, a great idea. I don't think the top part is that bad at all. I think the front panel is actually extremely gorgeous. I think it's well made. The back panel part inside of it looks a little crafty, a little like we could have zhuzhed it up a bit to make it look a little better, especially because like it's comparing to the other two. But like my main issue with this is not anything to do with the top part, right? And if I had to increase this, I would have just put two more like I guess like crown points like that are nice and like slender off to the side to give a bit more shape up top, and just like they wouldn't have gone up as far as the other points. They would have been a little bit lower and gone just a little bit more out to the right and the left, going upwards as well. I think that would have looked really cool. She talked about her culture and how this was really bringing things together. You can see the dragon on the bottom part. The bottom part is fine for something else, but there is such a disconnect between the top and the bottom. And I think a big thing that has to do here is that complete just cut right there in the middle of literally her outfit, where it just looks like the top just stops and whatever she had underneath was there. The idea of the panels on the bottom part is great and all, but when the middle section of that gold and white uh, is just gone immediately, it just looks like it was unfinished, like she didn't think about continuing it, or maybe she was and she just didn't have the time. I don't know. Something just wasn't right there. The bottom part could be good for something else, but this right here needed to finish at some point, so it gave us some type of a better shape that's more visually appealing. But overall, it's a great concept. It just needed a better execution. Um, so overall, not great, but a lot of good in conceptually here.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely not terrible, but just a little slightly distracting. She, you know what she kind of looks like to me for some reason? She feels like she should be like an elevated piece on like a game board, like Monopoly or something. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just how full like she kind of looks. I don't know. It doesn't
You
give
know
like
what
an
it kind of
actual
looks
human
like?
figure.
It's like if you took the side shot of like a wedding band kind of thing, right? And you took it from the side where like you could only see it, so it kind of looks like a line instead of a circle, right? And
Right,
you
yeah.
saw where the diamond's supposed to be, but there's no diamond in there or whatever. That's what it kind of looks like. And it's not a terrible shape. It's just not the most flattering. Like this is great. Like, but I do love the concept. Like it's really beautiful. It's a great idea. I just would have preferred something more.
Mhm. I still like the fact that LaFell is always outside the box and with a lot of stuff that he does. So, still not a bad
Yes.
look for LaFell, and hopefully, third time's the charm at some point for LaFell. Maybe we'll see LaFell back on another international season. We can only hope. Next, Tynomi Banks giving us her Tree of Life look, and honestly, I really think she looks really gorgeous here. I feel like the makeup looks good. I think that the wig is cute. I something about maybe the coloring though. It feels like a little off with her skin tone a little bit, maybe. Um, but otherwise, I still really think this is one of the most gorgeous garments that Tainomi has worn on the main stage here. Um, there is something a little bit about like the how the fabric is like kind of placed a little bit that throwing me off a little bit. I do like the fabric though that she used. I think it's a really pretty fabric. I kind of wish it maybe it was a little bit more either brown, like if it was she was going for a tree, I wish she went a little bit more like a dark brown, because I think she looks gorgeous with the deep dark chocolate brown personally, um, or she went like super uh, green or white or something like that. I don't know. Something about this is creaminess of the outfit color throws me off just kind of a little bit. And I don't know, is she wearing like leggings too? I don't know. Something about it is just slightly off for the color, but otherwise I think it's still really a really elevated look here from Tynomi, so I'm not that upset by it. I have her um close to the middle of the pack, I want to say, but there was still like probably like five looks that I was really vibing with tonight. So can't put her that much higher, but I do think Tynomi looks gorgeous here. Any thoughts on Tynomi's look here?
So, Tainomi looks really good here, and this is a beautiful piece for like a runway. It's not a finale look, right? Like this is supposed to kind of be like that, like the crown me look. And this is not a crown me look, really. Well, let's talk about all the good stuff. Like her hair is beautiful. She looks very mature here. She looks very elegant. She looks very uh opulent. This beautiful shape, this irregular like swirls and twirls going on with this fabric up top is so beautiful, and it really like sets, it's almost like a pillar that like just lightly sways and setting her head right there as if she's like, I am the prize. Like I really love that about her and this outfit. Like she looks gorgeous. My issue is just the bottom half. The dress just gets slimmer and then cuts open to having one leg out. I'm not the biggest fan of the shoes, but that didn't really mind me as much as the shape of the outfit then, because we have so much up top, we have nothing below, and it just continues to shrink. And so I lose a little bit of her shape here. And another thing that I lose is the idea behind the concept of the outfit, right? Other than the twirls, I'm kind of confused as what it was supposed to be. The fabric looks great. It works perfectly with this idea of the curls and whatnot. But it kind of almost looks like it's narrowing to the point where like, I hate to say it like this, but it almost looks like this is like the sheath of a dagger or something, like come to life. I
I don't
I
think
don't
I
know how
don't
to
know how to
explain
explain
that, but
that, the
like
coloring,
it's
it's
just
like the
really
silverish coloring. It kind of looks like very ornate, like silverware decorating, kind of, you know? Like I see what you're saying.
right.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're
Like
saying.
someone took the cloths and was like mid folding it and then like left a tail part out. And I was like, wait, what happened, girl? Like, so it's a beautiful look. Don't get me wrong. Like, she looks gorgeous. It's just, if I want to elevate this look, that's where I'm looking at. But overall, this is a good look. I do like this. It's not a crowny look, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear again. I clearly know nothing about fashion, so clearly these girls are doing more than what I know what to do. But just personal preference and taste and whatnot here. So we could all judge and have our wrong opinions, right?
Somewhat.
Still, Naomi looked, she still looked great here. So, just slight nitpicks in the outfit, but otherwise, Naomi looks fantastic. Our next queen, Miss Eureka, giving us her full Elephant Queen Eleganza, and I want to say again, I think this is another one where I liked the concept, but I'm not sure I necessarily liked the execution of it. The positive parts are I do like kind of everything. I would say honestly, I'll just say this. If she didn't have the big elephant trunk right in her midsection, that just makes it look very like weirdly shaped and very disproportionate and whatnot. I don't think I would mind it as much. Um, but or maybe if it was just like slightly smaller, or maybe just really like super huge to the point where it was like part of the actual train kind of thing. I don't think it would bother me. But there's just something about how it's just kind of placed on there. It just kind of looks like they just kind of super glued it to the front of her dress and went, okay, there you go. But otherwise, I really liked every other element of it. I love the two wings in the back with being like the ears. And I think she still looks great, like proportion wise. I just from the side, it looks kind of awkward for me, and actually from the front too, it looks a little awkward. But still, I did have her. Actually, I have her right below Tainomi as far as looks go. But
That's
not a
nice.
bad look for Eureka as far as I'm concerned, but on the lower end for the finale, Eleganza overall. Thoughts on the Elephant Queen here?
I have to give it to Eureka. I think this is what I mean when like it's a crowning look. Like this is really her brand. She knows who she is. She looks extremely exquisite. She looks gorgeous, and she found a way to use the, not just the shape of the elephant, but really the texture of the elephant's skin. Like when you see an elephant, when you think of an elephant, you don't think smooth skin per se. You think of that rough texture, very weathered skin, because generally, the environment they live in, and they spray themselves with water and just to keep cool and whatnot, right? And to wash themselves. Um, there are grooves inside of their skin. It looks like an elephant. You can see exactly what this is. Anyone can see this. And then the little prop of like the little string on the hand to bring up the trunk. I really love this look, and I love how she kind of seamlessly went from this texture to this smooth gown that it's all laying upon, and this amazing headpiece with this pop of color for the hair is really beautiful. It's just something to like. This is what I think drag is like. If you want to talk about someone doing something exquisite or like high fashion or something like this is kind of how you do it. I can see her shape completely. I love the ears in the background. It's really giving us this 3D look too. It's just there's something so beautiful about this, in my opinion, in comparison to a lot of other looks I've seen, especially the ones we've seen tonight so far. I think this is the first time I was like, this is a crowning look. Like this is a look that I would wear to like my crowning. Like at least for me, that's how I feel.
No, I get it. Like I said, I don't mind everything on it. I think it does look, it's a really gorgeous on it. I just don't really like the placement of how the elephant head looks there. I feel like there's a way she could have incorporated it a little differently to the point where it just wasn't just like stuck on the front of it. But everything else about it, I really like. It's just that one element kind of throws me off. But otherwise, a great look here from Miss Eureka, our Elephant Queen. Let's go ahead and move on to our next look here, which I think was my favorite look of the night. We could kind of agree to disagree, Jack, 'cause I know you're going to have other words here specifically for it. But it's Miss Fiercalicious, the petulant bitch. And I love this look. I will always go back to the bodice when it's stoned like that. I love the body shape when you stone a body shape like that. That's why I like Steep's look from All Stars 9. And it always, this one in particular really gives me shades of Shea Coulee's bodysuit, the jeweled nude bodysuit she did in All Stars 5. But I love every part about this. I just love the way that it gives me like Birth of Venus, but like if she wasn't getting out of bed for, anything less than $10,000 a day. And it's just, I love her makeup. She looks so good. I love the wig. I love how it all flows. I love the train. I really feel like this is one of Fierce's most elevated looks that she's had this season, and I really, really enjoy this look. Jack, what were your thoughts here on Miss Fiercelicious finale look?
So I really love this look. I love the concept. I do kind of think that it's like that whole waking up from the bed thing that you were talking about. I kind of wish there had been a pillow behind her, and almost like she had taken the fabric and not just made it look like. I kind of wish, like, one of those headboards that have those small like button indents into them, like really giving you off that bed vibe, I guess. But I like most of this look. There's something that really makes me upset is how I can see her panty and her legs, because I feel like this really shortens her and makes her look not as elegant. And like I'm not trying to hate on Fierce. It's just it's not like she's like one of the tallest girls, right? And like when we're thinking about like how we should be like showing off our proportions, I don't think that a crotch shot is necessarily something that I want to see on a girl who's getting crowned, unless we're taking it to the tens all the time. And this doesn't feel like that, because it's not really showing off her legs in a like glamorous light. I feel like her legs are kind of there, and they're not like they don't feel long and elegant in this, like, like a Naomi Smalls kind of thing. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like this kind of shortens her, maybe just doesn't give her the right appeal. So I kind of wish there had been some covering down there. And then I felt that because the panty part is just really like drives me out of this look is I felt like it should be covered because of the legs especially and what's going on. So that's like my big like this is where I would have improved. I like this look a lot. I'm not saying it's a bad look at all. She did an amazing job here. I just think there is a slight room for improvement here. And so for me, it's just it's those small details, right, that really like makes or breaks the look in terms of like going from excellent to exquisite kind of thing. So that's the only thing I have as far as like critiques. 'Cause she looks beautiful. You're right. She her hair is right. Her makeup is right. Like almost everything about this looks so good. The way it's lined, and everything like that is pretty. It's like almost all perfect, right? So it's just those few things that like if she could do it again, that's what I would do. But at the same time, like she looks amazing. You're right. This is extremely elevated. This is great. I don't hate this at all. It's just those few details that I'm like, I would change this, which
Yeah,
is why it's not like the top of my list.
I can understand that. I mean, like small details, everybody's probably gonna nitpick here and there for their own personal tastes, but seeing the panty don't mind me. I like it. But fortunately, while she may look like a winner, she is not part of our top four. Let's go ahead and get to the first member of our top four, though, to walk the runway, and that was Miss Cheryl. And I really, really like this look on Cheryl. I think I was actually kind of surprised when she came out here. I will say that there is something slightly underwhelming with like the fabric, the texture of whatnot. Feels like she could have probably done maybe a little bit more with it, like maybe the this gold that she has in like the stockings, how it kind of looks like the veins or whatever, whatever design she has there. She probably maybe could have continued that through like the fabric here. But that's one small slight issue that I had with the outfit because otherwise I really, really like this on Cheryl. This is probably the most elevated that she's looked here all season. Um, she really was saving the best for last year, for as far as I'm concerned. Here, there's a lot of other elements here that she's had on a lot of her other looks here. As far as like the fact that she really likes the having the train connected to her sleeves here, and things like that. But everything just looks really right here for me. The I really like the headpiece. The wig feels like one of the more fuller wigs that she's had here. um, this just it does give me Grecian goddess being crowned, and I really really like this look on Cheryl. Again, as far as like the actual like texturing or whatnot of the actual fabric, it's my only issue that I feel like I had with it, but I really liked everything else about this look here for Miss Cheryl here. So I'm having a hard time placing a couple of these looks because there's a few of them that I'm kind of going back and forth, like two, three, four, five. Um, this is probably going to be in the higher end, I think, for me though. What were your thoughts on Miss Cheryl's finale look tonight, Jack?
So Miss Cheryl kept it beautiful and simple, and I wanna really highlight a lot of the great things that she does here. I love the hair, love the headpiece. You brought on that whole Grecian goddess kind of thing, kind of like the toga style thing going on here, which I really love. I think what I dislike when you're talking about the fabric, I agree with you that there's a lot of texture going on here. I wish there was more texture and more fabric in the middle part, so it really had given me that like she is overly enveloped in this beautiful kind of like rich fabric kind of feel that I think a goddess would have. But she still is commanding it like when she's holding it up and she's like, ah, yes, my gown, but it does not wear me, I wear it kind of thing. I like the tights a lot, or the pantyhose or whatever they are. I don't, or not pantyhose. Sorry, I don't know if they're leggings or not. I don't think they are. I think they're tights, but and the shoes I'm living for, like these detailings on it, on her arms. It's great. I just think this is a very like we needed to elevate it a bit to like stand it up against a lot of these other looks. But it's very good. This is very elevated, especially for Cheryl. It's beautiful. I love how she looks here. I think there's a little bit more that could be done to really bring this up to the next category. This is kind of like the um we kind of have to compare it to some of these other great looks that we're going to get into, and so it falls a little bit further down the list for me because we're going to have so many good looks coming up especially, but it's a beautiful look. I enjoy this a lot. Again, just a few things I would like to change. I think really just take Cheryl's drag to the next level.
Well, I think for Cheryl, though, which if we're comparing, because again, like I think like we've kind of mentioned here, Cheryl's never going to do the extra credit. She's always going to kind of do somewhat the bare minimum here. In this instance, I don't mind it. I think it looks fine on her. I think it looks really good. Um, but our next queen popped out here. I gotta say, I when she it started out, I hated it, and then I loved it, and then when I saw the full thing again, I hated it again. And then the more I look at it, the more I really, really like this look, and that is Miss Alexis Mateo's butterfly look. And wow, this is just really. I think I'm back to being in love with it again because this is very unexpected for Alexis. Although I do know she loves a wing. She loves her strong arm pieces here a bit. Um, but like it just everything about this look and it just looks very very elevated for Alexis here. Um, Nothing that I would really kind of expect her to kind of do, but after this season, actually, I do kind of I think this does make sense here because it feels like her final evolution here. She was in the cocoon for 3 4 seasons, and now she's finally blossomed to the butterfly that she is. Um, I don't really have too many negatives about it, other than just the fact that I think I just liked Fierce's look better. And there's something maybe about the color choices here, that maybe I would have included maybe a more vibrant purple. I think I don't really know if I like the purplish pinkish color that she used there, but just a slight issue that I have with it. Everything else I really really enjoyed with on this one. What are your thoughts on Alexis Butterfly look?
I love this piece by Alexis. Actually, I want to really talk about this headpiece really quickly because it's these beautiful long feathers that look like the antenna of a butterfly. It's just these small detailings. Her hair doing this like perfect, almost like no, I don't want to say ombre effect, but it's got these different highlights and they're like placed in certain areas to just bring like darks and lights of these browns. It really reminds you of what a butterfly does look like. Her makeup is gorgeous. Like her this whole outfit silhouette is perfect. She holds her hands to the side to complete the wings immediately so you see what it is. And then she'll lift them up and show off how elegant she just like she feels. This looks like bitch, I'm opulent, I own everything. I know that maybe you're not the biggest fan of this pinky purple color. That's fine. I can understand that completely. I just see this as being such like a piece of art. It feels like if you could put the effect of stained glass onto fabric, that's what we have here from this look. And I really can't get over how beautiful this gown is. I love the shape of it going down so slimming here um underneath her waist and her hips, and then like kind of coming back out into the train and just a beautiful gorgeous shape for Alexis. Like it shows off who she is. She's always been a pageant queen. This is one of the best she's ever looked. Even if we could say like maybe some of the colors could be better, it's this whole look is just so good regardless of any of that. It's so top tier for me. I'm in love with this. I want one in a couple different colors. Like I want to wake up in the morning feeling like this. It's
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's
Yeah,
really Alexis at her best.
I don't know. Alexis has some very, very amazing looks this season. Like, I'm very surprised. Like, her AI look is definitely up there as far as my favorite looks this season. But yeah, I definitely agree. This is definitely one of Alexis's best looks here. Very, very finale look, Eleganza on brand for sure. Let's talk about our next look here because I have so much, so much to say about Miss Kennedy Davenport here because she, when they were panning down initially for this one and they kind of moved her way up, right? This gown, let's just start there, right? Because this gown is by far the single best garment I think we've seen on the runway tonight, without a doubt. Just the coloring of purple, the way that the silverish lining is kind of designing in there as well, too, kind of swooping in and out. I love how it just kind of all meshes together around the breastises and around the shoulders. I love the way it's cut out. Just everything about this is just gorgeous. But Kennedy, why this wig? Why this wig? And Jack, I'll let you kind of say a little bit more from here. Because I'm still I don't know where to put this because like from the neck down, this is amazing. This is number one for sure. But like neck up, oof, that I don't oof, I don't even know. Jack, go just take it away. This take it away.
Okay, so this is what I mean. This is what I mean. This You're right. This is one of the most gorgeous gowns I've ever seen in my life. It must be heavy as hell. The way every single flicker of light in that room is just dazzling off of these jewels. She looks so expensive, so rich, so elegant. And here's the issue. When we get up to the face, the makeup is a little clumpy. We've seen the caked on, especially when they get close up on Quinny's face. We know that's her makeup style. It's the older styles of drag. It's what she grew up on. She's a pageant queen. All these things. She looks gorgeous. This dress is everything and more. The hair is so good that it matches here. The only problem is that she would have to either like shave some of her hair or blend her hair into it, and it doesn't fully do that. And so when we get to like the nitpicking details, like this is what I'm talking about like this is killing me because like I really want like just that image of like the makeup to be smoothed out. I want the hair to be covered up completely where I don't see it. Like maybe put a wig cap on or something and then color the makeup into the wig cap so we can't even tell and put makeup over it. I don't know. Something needs to be done, and I know there's limited time, so I'm not gonna like say that she did something like terrible or anything. I'm just saying that there was a way to really improve this, and it's so hard because the dress and everything is just so gorgeous. It's so well done. I, uh, God, it just gives you like such life to see this kind of drag. Like this is the kind of old school drag and like the diva pageant drag that you think of and you're like, oh, this is like what beauty is made of, right? And it's just there's a few things that happen in the face and whatnot that I just oh I wanna shake Kennedy and be like, why didn't you make sure that the hair was a little bit longer, covered up, or didn't like do this right? And I think this comes into like one of my reasons why I was kind of a little let down was just I was like, there must have been a way to paint her face and not look a little cakeyed on in the eye area, especially because like when we got the close up of it, I was like, "Mm." I could see it from a little far away, but then when you got close up and you could see it, you're just a little like, she's painted for the back of the room, the back of the theater kind of thing, but like it's just it's these details that matter so much from taking like the look from being like the best thing ever to like being like this is great. Like this could have been the best thing ever. And because of those details, it was like this is great. Like I love this. Not this is the best thing ever. Like I should be saying.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it didn't completely come together here, but again, still completely stunning garment here. Beautiful gowns. Uh, Whatever. Let's get on to our final runway of the night here, and that is from Miss Lemon. And personally, again, another fantastic look from Lemon. She's really rivaling Nymphia for Queen of Yellow here. And the thing I like about this look here is, again, it's very kind of reminiscent of a lot of her other looks here that she's done, like her entrance look. And one of the other looks she did here was kind of similar. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. But her kind of like her entrance or not her entrance, like the first one, Best Drag. Very similar kind of elements here. But I love the fact that she played completely in on the lemon concept here. I kind of just wish she went full out on it here because the detailings where it just looks like slices, the lemon slices in the skirt and on the boobies. I think are really cute. I love the wig. I love the little how there's like the streaks of yellow in the hair, especially in it, especially how it has the kind of like how it's basically dipped in yellow, kind of at the end on the tip that's dipping down in her face. And she's painted really well. I don't know how I feel 100% about the fabric on the bottom with the ostriches. It doesn't bother me completely, but it feels slightly disjointed here, maybe for me, from the rest of the garment. But as far as I'm concerned, here, still another great look here from Lemon. I do have her actually, like third, fourth-ish here. There's still, like I said, between Cheryl, Lemon, Kennedy, Alexis. Actually, not Alexis anymore. I think I have Alexis kind of firmly in second. But between Kennedy, Lemon, and Cheryl, I'm kind of a hard timing placing them in Lemon. So we'll figure it out at some point here. But still, great look here for Lemon. Also, forgot, love the how the piece kind of comes up and back on her too. I think that's really really cute. Um, what are your thoughts here on Lemon's look tonight, Jack?
The
The
hair is a
hair is a
10. Yeah, I love some big drag hair. I think that's what I was living for so much from all of our queens tonight. So many of them went over the top with the hair and made sure it was big and beautiful, and you know, the bigger the hair, the closer to God kind of thing is what I was feeling. Um, I love the little hood, like on like the back of her hair, kind of thing coming up. I love this train, the ostrich feathers and everything. It kind of reminds me of like the seeds that lemons have in them. It's like these random, just like little spots and dots of them, and you have it anytime. If you try to squeeze some lemon into your drink at the restaurant or whatever at the bar, you will probably accidentally spit off a lemon seed in there, and you'll either have to eat it or spit it out later. That's kind of what it reminded me of. I love the placement of all of these lemon slices, making these little peplums and giving the outfit shape, from the shoulder pieces to the two lemons as the breasts that were cut. Like, that's very conceptually pleasing. Even the fabric and uh the way that it is lined, um how our eyes are supposed to view it when going down her body. It's so smart. It's well crafted. The only thing I could say about this look is there are a few things that should be better. I love the shoes, so we don't have to talk about that. There's a few like things that could be elevated if we chose like maybe a different fabric to make this a little bit nicer or more regal looking. If we took maybe some boning or something in here to really give it more shape from when she is not holding the train that she has here. But I didn't mind the train or anything like that. It's just the white, uh, the white trimming, I guess I would call it, of this. It flows like a train, but maybe it could have come down more structured than it does. Could have really amped it up. I do think that the lemon slices on her breast could be a little bit better done. I think they're very well made, but I think there's something to be said about really like making it pop and stand out even more. But I can't say all these bad things about this look because I love this look so much. I love the arms. I love the shape, like I said earlier. It's so beautiful. It's so on brand. That's something all of four of the queens in the top four really did this season is they stuck to their brand and they made it work for them so well. And it was so nice to see such like a strong top four who knew who they were too. Like, it really felt like no matter what, at the end of the day, these four queens were going to bring us themselves at this finale, and they really did in these looks. It really was an amazing top four, because sometimes you have those top four looks and you're like, what is this, girl? What does this say about your drag? Whereas I feel like each of these outfits really said something about who they are and what their drag represents.
Yeah, it was actually a really great finale runway here, and I just think overall, just it just shows again the strength of the cast that we had here this season. I feel like, well, as you kind of said here, our top four. do the runway for the final time here, and they get their final critiques from the judges, and they see Raja's portraits. And I kind of like this finale portion a little bit better than other ones. Just Raja being there for the most part. I really like Raja, so just her presence just felt right with her being there, given that she's the reigning winner, and her critiques felt really good. Like she had some really good advice, I think, for the queens. And also, there's always a benefit here when they don't pull out the stupid portraits and make them talk to their younger selves. Like I get why they did that beforehand. Please stop it, though. Just we don't have to do it all the time. No. Did you have any thoughts here on final comments or anything about Miss Raja O'Hara tonight? Because she was looking gorgeous too.
Oh, Raja was looking great. I think what Raja did extremely well was as the send off look, she looked so beautiful, but she tried to also make sure that she wasn't just the center of attention at all times. I think she was really like, let me make this about me, but make sure that I'm not purposely trying to be constantly overshadowing everyone else in the world. I think what we saw was just a beautiful, beautiful like representation of Raja, who she is, her brand, of course, the beautiful royal purple that she was wearing. I think again, she like gave great comments, great energy to the girls who were getting ready for this. You know, when they were having their one-on-ones with her, it just felt very natural. It felt very fun. Like the girls were opening up and just being who they were. And what you mentioned again, no baby pictures. Thank you, Jesus. No baby pictures.
I think maybe that's a RuPaul thing. I think Ru loves doing the baby pictures, but thankfully Brooklyn doesn't do them all the time. I feel like. I don't know. Actually, I need to go back and watch Canada 4. Might take that back. Um, well, after their critiques, they are told to go back and untuck and have a little deliberation because all of the eliminated queens join our finalists and they decide on who Miss Congeniality is, but not before we have one last dramatic moment from Fierce, who has to, get her quota of at least one dramatic moment per episode here. And she calls out Lemon here for not saving her with the beaver, because apparently they had the Canadian alliance, but we rolled the footage and Lemon never agreed to it. And in true Lemon fashion, she gets the clap back in the final word on Fierce, saying that she gave Fierce the chance to lip sync, but she gave up and didn't even change for her final lip sync, which was true. I love Fierce, and I love her randomly calling people out, but I think my favorite part about the whole Fierce storyline here is the fact that she tries to do it, and every single time, someone shuts her up. Did you have any thoughts on what happened here on Untucked here with Miss Fierce?
Um, I was just glad that she got shut up. I was like, shut up, Miss Fierce. Shut up. I think we really saw the the true winners here really the giving her what she needed. She needed to just be told what the tea was. I mean, yes, you can say that from the way that Lemon had talked, it sounded like Lemon was kind of agreeing, but they never really solidified this. There wasn't a contract. There was no, like, I will 100% do this for you. And like Lemon said, she said she'd have her back. That didn't mean she was going to save her regardless every time that she has the chance. And I think that's important because, like, having someone's back in this game doesn't mean you have to save them every single opportunity. I think having your back means a lot more than that, like helping you out here or there, making sure that you're together, like keeping you with some peace. And I just think that there's a level of maturity you see with Lemon right now. Even some of the stuff that happened online with her and a couple of the other queens, you really see she's a much better version of herself than when we were first introduced to her on Canada 1.
Like I love the fact that she could clap back though, and it's very still it's a read, but it's still mature,
Hmm.
and it's usually mostly I would say correct.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm generally, I mean, obviously we're a lemon stan account as the fans like to say. I'm generally gonna take lemon side, especially when I feel like she's generally, doing the right thing and trying to be the most positive that she can be here, despite being, a little sour, hence her name. But she really is a sweet person, you could really tell. Um, but speaking of sweet, y'all, they have to decide on who Miss Congeniality is. And initially, I was a little taken aback, but I think it was mostly just kind of the editing of how they kind of just kind of abruptly went into it here. Because, like, you start immediately with Eureka starting campaigning immediately for it. And I was kind of like, okay, this is a little weird to be like, pick me, I'm the sweetest and most deserving person here. But then they all gave a reason, and I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad, I guess. And even Fierce says that she was congenial every week because she held her tongue several times, and I thought that was kind of funny. But they go back to the main stage after the vote, and it is Eureka who is given the $10,000 Miss Congeniality prize, which I kind of agree with, but I also kind of just wish they gave it to Kahena, just because I'm like, girl, like
No.
I brought her back twice.
Mm-mm.
Just give her some money, give her something. Do you have any thoughts on Eureka being Miss Congeniality, and do you think it's deserving? It's deserving. I'd say it's deserving personally.
I mean, sure, it's a great look for the other queens to give her Miss Congeniality, but I think LaFille is a better representation of congeniality, in my opinion. I think Eureka does mean well a lot of the times, but sometimes we're a little too delusional. Her and her bestie Fierce both have that in common. So, you know,
I don't think LaFille was
maybe.
ever gonna get it though after that whole situation with like Fierce that apparently they had going on. Whatever that we learned about in the Twitter forums afterwards. Like, clearly there was some tension for whatever reason with Phil and Fierce. So I don't think LaFille was gonna get it for that reason, unfortunately. And she also was only around for like what 2 episodes, so I don't think they had enough time to really kind of get to
How
know her.
dare you say that after you just tried to say
Because
Kahena should have gotten it?
I said, well,
Take
because
it out,
she's
guys.
only done 2 episodes total. Okay, give the bitch some. At
She
least give
had
her some
more
money to get.
episodes to keep
Give her
her
some money
going
to
while
make a
this
paycheck, yo.
happened.
She she's had she gets a 2 episode appearance fee. Okay, Mark Kennedy clearly needs this money to go eat. Okay, I just don't want her to have to do a GoFundMe page or something like that, y'all. Like, I just don't want it. That's why I wanted to
I
give her
mean,
the
it's not like
money.
she spent money on her looks for the show, so where's her money at?
Oh no, still no.
I'm just
Anyway.
saying.
Well, I think that's a great segue here to get into our final maxi challenge of the season, y'all. The final lip sync smackdown for the crown. Y'all know the rules by now. Our final four are split into 2 lip sync matches, where the winners will move on to face off against each other in one final lip sync for the motherfucking world. And in true Canada fashion, though, instead of picking their opponent from the spin of a wheel, they will instead pick their song at random to determine the matchups. And wouldn't you know it, that the 2 queens that don't want to face off against each other the most, Kennedy and Lemon, picked the same song right off the bat, leaving Alexis and Cheryl to shockingly pick the same song for their face off. I love Brooklyn's reaction too when she opens the box and flips off Cheryl. I thought that was fun. Um, did you have any thoughts before we get into the actual lip sync? Overall, on your feelings of these matches?
I think we were all shocked to see the Kennedy versus Lemon lip sync because we thought for sure that was going to be the final lip sync. So to see what I think we all thought was the main event so early was the most shocking part because I don't think anyone who I guess hadn't seen any spoilers or whatever was expecting something like this because I know I was expecting a Lemon versus Kennedy final lip sync smackdown for the crown. So we got that match really early.
Yeah, we really did, and dare I say, this is easily the best lip sync of the season, without a doubt. Even with the other 2 lip syncs here, like this one, I think the season has some pretty one-sided lip syncs for the most part, but this one was kind of a nail biter from start to finish for me personally. I think what solidified it for me though, despite them really going back and forth here, is while Kennedy I think may have done like a flashier move here or there. I don't know if her lips were entirely synced in the song for me. And I've rewatched this a few times because this has been, like I said, this is lip sync of the season right now. So I watched it a couple times here, and I don't know if it's the editing or what, but Kennedy was kind of giving me a lot of like pineapple, 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 shalama ding dong, versus Lemon, who was just like really on point with her words. And I think what really solidified it for me was, how they kind of will also pan to Brooklyn Heights too. And Brooklyn is always giving like very clear lip syncs to the point where you could tell the words coming out of her mouth. But I didn't get that from Kennedy at all. But I completely got it from Lemon here. And like, if they're doing basically the same when it comes to the tricks and stunts, but one of them is giving a very clearly more emotive performance, I'm gonna go inside with that person. So, um, while it wasn't on the same degree of like that Two Hearts lip sync with Morgan and Kylie Sonique in season two, I do agree with the outcome here. I disagree completely with any girlies who are saying that there's complete favoritism in here. Lemon won this lip sync, and I will not be told any differently. Jack, let's set the girlies straight. Who won this lip sync?
So, without a doubt, the correct winner was chosen of the lip sync. Lemon did win this lip sync, and not only did Lemon win this lip sync, let me just say that I don't even agree with you thinking that this was a close one. I didn't see that at all. From the very start, just the movement choices were really something that, like, for me, tipped it off in my favor of, like, who I thought won. The song started, and Lemon really, like, showed us the reason why she brought this out and why this outfit was her lip sync assassin outfit kind of thing for the night. Like, I could not keep my eyes off of the fringe, her body movements, and the way she was just grooving to the song was just in a way that I just don't think Kennedy could unfortunately match. And so she was easily like the winner of this lip sync for me. This isn't like a favoritism thing. This is just really that, I mean, you even mentioned it, that sometimes the words, we weren't certain if Kennedy knew all of them. Not that there were like a shit ton of the lyrics, but still, it's a lip sync at the end of the day. Um, as far as were there a lot of great tricks and moves done by Kennedy? Yeah, and I loved a lot of the things that she did. I just, again, I didn't feel like it was as close of a lip sync as you thought it was. Um, but for me, it was a very clear, like, Lemon won this lip sync. There's nothing to be said about that. Like, um, without, I think, really analyzing, like, if I am the one who's being told favoritism, maybe we need to take a step back and look at the favoritism that someone might have against Lemon towards Kennedy here, because I don't think I've ever seen a lip sync like this happen where the girl who's completely embodying the song doesn't win lip sync, really.
Yeah, I do agree. I do think Lemon definitely embodied the song a lot more, and I mean that's just one of the reasons why definitely I think she won this lip sync for sure. They're both gonna move on to the final, honestly. And we were gonna get a top three lip sync, or I don't know. I could have seen an argument for them both saying, but there's no way to say that I think just Lemon lost this at all whatsoever. But I do want to take a moment here to talk about the bitch herself, Kennedy Davenport, because did the stars not align for her this season? I feel like this is by far one of the best performances that she's ever had here. And I think she herself kind of feels that way. And you kind of really feel, I think, the love that she got from all of the cast and just, I think, the crew in Canada. I think Kennedy might actually become like the dancing diva of Canada at some point. Like, I think she might move there, that she had like that good of an experience. You could kind of really tell that she really enjoyed herself here. And, um, like, I just I feel a lot of positivity that she's had from here, and I'm just kind of really sad that when I went to DragCon, I didn't get a chance to go to her booth. At this point now, because I'm just like she seems like she would have been so much fun to talk to and get to hang out for a little bit, and she has one of by far the strongest reputations from the show, and I think she really proved this season, really more than any other season that she's had here, where I think things have kind of just finally resonated with her and the fans, and I think that's really all she wants here. I don't think she necessarily came in here 100% for the crown, but I think she needed that redemption where people finally really are supporting her and liking her again. And I'm very happy for where Kennedy is at this point in her life here. So, um, I think while she didn't really need the crown to win, um, the fact that she got to a finale, I think she got her redemption. Do you have any thoughts here, finally, on Miss Kennedy Davenport's journey this season here, Jack?
Kennedy really had the most up and down season of any of the queens, in my opinion. She went from winning a challenge to losing and being in the bottom and being saved, and then winning another challenge and then going directly back down to the bottom. So it was a roller coaster experience. I do think that Kennedy did do a lot of great things this season. I think she really stepped up, and I think we can see the reason why she was clearly saved by Lemon, why she deserved to be in the top four. And I'm proud of the fact that she just seemed like she was able to overcome some of the obstacles that maybe had been in her way the past couple seasons, where I felt like she was more in her head than she was this time. I feel like this time she really was just giving it her all, having a good time, and it was enjoyable to watch. And I wish nothing but the best for Kennedy.
Yeah, I'm again very happy for Kennedy overall here, and hope nothing but the best for her, absolutely for sure. But you know what? We still have a second lip sync to get into. We have round two with Alexis Mateo versus Cheryl, and they will be singing or lip syncing to "So Many Men, So Little Time" by Michael Brown. I want to say that's how you pronounce that. I will say Alexis did pretty good. I think she was solid. I think she was smart to just take kind of center stage and just kind of own that portion of the stage. But can I just say, my eyes were on Cheryl the entire performance, without a doubt. Like Alexis had some fun like spinning, but it kind of killed it for me that she immediately. I kind of hate it when girls immediately take off their reveal outfit like that. Kills me. Like, don't even have the reveal. Just take it off beforehand if you're just gonna take it off to begin with in the song. Like, don't even have it. Um, But everything about Cheryl, I just felt like she was one step ahead of Alexis the entire performance. From like the moment she literally drops to the floor and pretends to wake up with the lyrics, her choreography, Cheryl sold the fuck out of this performance into the very last douche, douche that they had there. She was still going. Like, I get that Alexis performed better the entire season, but sorry, this was Cheryl's lip sync. I this was Cheryl's lip sync, without a doubt, without a doubt. Um, Jack, did they do Cheryl dirty here again?
Yeah, they did Cheryl dirty here because I knew from like the first 15 seconds that Cheryl won this lip sync. I was like, oh my god. And then it continued to just happen where Cheryl was dominating this lip sync. And it's not to say that Alexis gave a bad lip sync. It's just Cheryl knew the song inside and out and she was doing the song. And I didn't feel that necessarily from Alexis. And I was like, well, okay. So I couldn't stop trying to go look back at Cheryl. I was like, it's really difficult. And one of the things was I wasn't a huge fan of Cheryl's look, and yet that didn't deter me from wanting to watch her performance the whole time. She definitely won this lip sync. I think they purposely, once they realized that they could not give the win to Kennedy because they had to choose between her and Lemon, and they had chosen Lemon as the winner of that lip sync, I think they really just decided we need to figure out a way to really up the ante here and no one's going to believe for a second that Cheryl could have won this season based on the challenges I would say that happened. Um, Alexis has a really interesting run here though, as you were kind of mentioning, like the trajectory, I guess is how you would say it. Um, in the first challenge, she ends up in the bottom not because of her own performance, but because of other people's, so she's saved. In the second challenge, she ends up being safe barely. Uh, in the third challenge, she ends up actually winning. But then the fourth and fifth challenge, she ends up in the bottom both times again. And one time you could say it wasn't really like it wasn't really like her ending up in the bottom as much as it was just if you're not the top, you're the bottom, unfortunately. And her final time in the bottom where she actually had to lip sync, it really did feel like it was just at that point there was nowhere to hide. You know, you were either the top one or two, or you were the bottom three. And at that point, just Kennedy was given the beaver over her. So when you look at Alexis's run, she did really well in a lot of the challenges. It's just unfortunate that some of the circumstances didn't, come out in her favor. She had a she's probably the most I would say she's probably the most gag worthy runways of the season. Like I didn't think we expected this level of fashion from Alexis, but she really like blew our minds. And so I think she was the only choice they had to put up against Lemon at the end to not make it um a complete like shit show. Like it had to be Lemon to win because no one was going to really believe a season where a queen didn't win a challenge and gets crowned. Now, technically, that has happened, but it's a little different.
Yeah, I think that happened on like a regular season, which I think is more um more understandable that someone would have that kind of track record versus being on like an all-star season and you're expected to win at least a challenge on an all-star season. But um like the only reason I'm kind of okay with Alexis Mateo moving on again to the finals is something kind of like you said here, just kind of storyline wise. I just don't think Cheryl's win necessarily came from winning the crown here, but from getting to the finale to begin with. There's are just so many arguments though that Cheryl really should have won something throughout the season, especially after her performance in the hole, which I mean like how iconic still would it have been for her to win a challenge that's basically named after her, with her playing a super fan of it? Like, so many missed opportunities to give Cheryl some true redemption here, but I don't necessarily see a world where, again, Cheryl wins the crown here either. So, there's a very strong argument that she could have been at least the runner up, but I do sometimes think being the robbed queen has its benefits. So, much like Kennedy here, I just hope Cheryl has found some solace with her reaching the final competition episode for the first time and feels that validation because this season really cemented, I think, her star status there. So, um, Jack, do you have any final thoughts here on Miss Cheryl before we get to our final lip sync season?
Cheryl said it best, or should I say Jujubee said it best. There's a new season for her to apply to be on, and I hope Jujubee does get her in contact with the new producers of the next season because I feel like we need our UK Jujubee.
UKGG. Yeah, I loved her. Excellent. I thought it was hilarious. Well, you know what? That takes us all to this moment, y'all. Our final lip sync with Alexis Mateo versus Lemon, and they will be singing lip syncing to. Why do I keep saying singing? Lip syncing to "Love Can Move Mountains" by Celine Dion. And I gotta love how each franchise feel like they have like that queen that they use for the finale lip syncs now. Like Kylie feels like she's like the UK and Australia, so Miss Celine Dion has to be our final lip sync here for Canada. Not necessarily my favorite Celine's song. Like I'm still waiting for "That's the Way It Is" Drag Race. Give it to me now. But both queens I thought did really well in this performance here. This was kind of very similar in a lot of ways for me to the Kennedy versus Lemon lip sync for me though, in that at face value Alexis gave a lot of fun movements with her garment. Her outfit just worked really beautifully with the song. Like it was calling back in a lot of ways to Coco's cold hearted lip sync. But for me, Alexis was always just kind of one step away from having a true Coco moment in the song. Meanwhile, Lemon's outfit was maybe a little overshadowed by Alexis, but let's not shade Bedroom Time Lemon here because I loved her look for this. And what really stood out for me again was Lemon was giving so much emotion, and the facial expressions were on point every single time here. She was giving true lip sync here. Um, Lemon was really embodying this performance here for me, and I guess I'm becoming a full time plant eater for the rest of my days, just feasting on nothing but fruits and vegetables. Because for me, Lemon fed me for days and gave me life throughout this whole entire season. Jack, what was your thoughts? on the final lip sync.
Oh wow. This final lip sync was one within like the first 10 seconds for me. The moment that Lemon, started grooving to the music and just really felt the song, I could feel her emotionally connecting with it. And with Alexis, she started off with this twirl move, which I thought was just way too early in the song to do something so dramatic with her outfit. Because I think this was one of the big moves that was really gonna like sell the emotion for it. So for me, Alexis started too strong and couldn't keep to that energy and go higher or above and give us the levels we needed. But I think what really did it was it really felt like Alexis was doing a great show that we would see her doing maybe at like the Las Vegas Review or anything like that. But I didn't feel her fully connect with the song in the same way that like Lemon did. Like Lemon felt like this was my moment. I'm going to sell you everything. Bitch, you are going to give me this crown no matter what. Like I have earned it. This is my moment. And I didn't feel the same from Alexis in the slightest. I feel like Lemon really showed up and showed out. Like this song, I don't know if there could have been a more perfect song for her to really embody here at the end of the competition. Like it was over with. It destroyed it. And
Mm.
I think that this is one of those crazy things where people are talking about a couple people online, and I know they're crazies. Like come out anytime we know crowning, but to say that Lemon would have lost this lip sync is, I think, insanity. I think there's a lack of objectivity here that can be said. Like, yes, art is subjective, but at the end of the day, like, Lemon clearly won this lip sync. It was not that close in comparison. Like, the Kennedy versus Lemon lip sync was a lot closer than this one was. And I didn't even think that one was close enough to justify ever having a world in which Lemon didn't continue on. Even if it was like they both continue on moment, this was clearly Lemon's win so hard in this lip sync. And though Alexis does a good job, good is nothing when you have greatness and have achieved a new level. And that's what we saw from Lemon.
Well, y'all, when the dust finally settles and the judges have their dramatic pause, stare, and nods at each other, it is announced that the winner of Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World 2, the Queen of the motherfucking world, is officially Lemon. Yes, bitch. Like, this feels so right. Does not feel right, Jack. I can feel like it just feels so right, especially with the questionable finales that we've had this year a little bit. Lemon, I feel like finally getting her dues here and her getting her flowers feels so right. Now we could officially say my top three Canadian queens of Isis Couture, Bianca, and Lemon are now officially crown holders. Yes.
I I think this feels. I think it not only feels right, it just was right. Like there was no way to look at the season and really feel like, oh, this was rigged for Lemon, as if she hadn't been killing it the whole time. Like there could have been something to be said, like if maybe she didn't win the lip syncs, but there was no way someone could have told you right now, like, oh, Lemon didn't win these lip syncs. Like maybe you feel one way, but like in actuality land over here, what happened in reality? There was no way that Lemon like lost these lip syncs. There was no way for us to justify anything like negative here. I mean, her performance all season long, plus these lip syncs, it was clear that Lemon deserved this. And even if we want to say maybe it could have been rigged for her at the start or whatever, like she didn't need the rigging. There was no rigging really going on because there was no time you can justify her not being top tier across the board every single fucking challenge. Like she has the best track record of a winner as far as on the show right now in the last couple seasons we've seen. She has the best uh I'd say lip sync performances in on top of those like challenge wins. I think, what we see this season, it very much differs from just a queen who clearly gets some favoritism towards the end of a season and makes it to the finale and then doesn't even have to win their lip sync to be crowned in an all-star season, or it also beats the other versus the world season that we got where we saw a queen clearly do extremely well the whole time, but then unfortunately, nearing the end of it all when it comes down to a lip sync, we had to make sure to kind of cut out the rest of the competition by underselling someone else's lip sync who was much stronger to guarantee that we had someone else who was a bit of a weaker lip syncer make it to the end. So I don't, it feels right. It feels good. It feels good to not feel like the whole thing is just constantly staged and produced just because, and that talent was actually taken into account this time.
Mhm. Well, before we deep dive into our winner here officially, Jack, let's talk a little bit more about Miss Alexis Mateo because she had a journey this season, again, as you kind of said throughout the stands here. Like, well, I have to admit, starting off the season, I was not the hugest stan of Alexis, mostly because I kind of feel like sometimes she takes things rather personally, especially in her first two seasons. I do think after all the drama that happened in All Stars 5, that this was really her true return to form here this season, and it just felt like there was just no sabotage really here for her affecting her other than maybe like the rules of the challenges, affecting her and throwing her in the bottom three maybe even when she did well. But dare I say Alexis again had the biggest glow up on the runway out of everybody this whole season. Like Fierce brought some amazing looks as well here too, but the caliber of Alexis's drag has come light years from even just like All Stars 5, I would say. And I also love the side story with Brooklyn Heights being Alexis's almost uh, daughter-in-law. Like that was kind of fun here, and things again just felt right here for both like Kennedy, Alexis, that duo there, and there was a lot of potential here for Alexis really to snatch the crown. Had a U.S. girly not won last season, but again. I do think our winner though was always one slight step ahead of Alexis though every step of the way. So well, there's definitely a huge case, I'd say, for Alexis, Cheryl, and Kennedy on who is the true runner-up of the season. It does feel most correct for me, maybe, that Alexis finally got to lip sync for the crown on this season. Jack, do you have any final thoughts on Alexis Mateo's run this season?
I think there's something to be said about each of the queens and what they had to achieve this season. I think when we look at it, Kennedy really needed to have the challenge wins and the to really prove that she was someone who was talented and to be met with. I think people always thought she was talented, but maybe only like looked at her as the dancing diva and didn't think of her as like more than that because she is truly more than that. She's like great at so many different facets of drag. And then we had Cheryl who finally makes it to a finale. Even if we feel like she might have been a little undervalued this season, she was able to like really kind of like toss aside some of those negative feelings before and really prove that she is the star and really like own that star power that she now has, that she now can't like deny that she has, I should say, because she always had it. I think with Alexis, one of the big things for her is like her fashion has just been at the tippity top. You know, like you said, her fashion has always been kind of goodish, questionable-ish. There was a lot of times where she like missed the mark completely. There was a lot of times where she looked really good, but like there's just something off. This year she really like showed up and showed out in the fashion game. I think she really proved that like she could style herself and she clearly knew her body a lot better this time and what she looks great in. And then finally, I think, in Lemon's case, it really was like, Lemon once said in her song with Priyanka Come Through, like, let Priyanka own 2020. Like, it was clear that she was coming back. She was going to give it her all. And when she went to UK versus the world, she was clearly done dirty. Like, we can say that it was favoritism or whatever they want to say, but like, clearly she was not meant to be a first out. And like, not only did she come back as a first out, but then she comes back to win the whole season. Like, she felt like she could have been a winner in her first season, and then to come back for UK versus the world to be unjustly like sent out of the competition first, rough. And then immediately here she comes back and she has a lot to prove because she kind of started the trend of the Canadian girls going home first. And not only does she stop that from happening, but then she also is the one who ends up winning the whole thing and like proving that Canada is talented. They have talented drag queens. There's a lot of there's a lot there going for them, and I think that there's so much to say about that. And with Alexis as her, like, I guess final opponent here, like, she they kind of both prove that, like, they are the top of the game. Like, this experience they've had on these multiple seasons really proves that they've, like, put in their time and they've put in their dues.
Ultimately, there could only be one winner here, and let's go ahead and we could close things out officially by giving our final congrats to our queen of the motherfucking world, the one and only Lemon. And words cannot express how happy I am for this bitch to finally get her flowers she deserves here. I know that there's going to be a lot of talk again about how Lemon probably got a season set up for her to win, being the fact that she did get that one high placement in the ball when she could have been safe. But again, the only real change I would have made to the season is to maybe give Eureka a high spot in the ball, and I don't think that outcome changes anything whatsoever. Because to say that Lemon was not the strongest performer in every other challenge is to say you're watching a kind of a completely different show as far as I'm concerned here. Again, I admit I am a huge Lemon stan, so sure there is some bias there, but I don't see how it can really be saying that her track record is not deserved at all whatsoever. As I think we've said earlier here, this does feel like one of the more fair judged seasons of the show. So think anything coming down to some lemonade here is really just coming down to the fact that you just maybe just don't like Lemon, which is fine. You don't have to like everybody, but to say that she's having this like rigged against her is or rigged for her is kind of insane too. Because especially if we're looking at like things like people like Jimbo, who was handed a season of first or second outs. And now we have someone like Lemon who is going against queens that are on their third and fourth time, who are legends in the series. I I don't think that there's really any question here that Lemon did have way tougher competition. The season was not handed to her whatsoever. And I can honestly say I feel like if this was season one of Canada versus the world, and this was happening last year or the year before, whenever the first season started here, I don't think that Lemon would be getting as much hate. But after the shenanigans that kind of happened in UK versus the world 2 with Marina Summers, I can understand why there was some obvious, thought process here. I mean, in our whole video, we assumed a Canadian queen was probably going to win, but it's a situation here where it was a deserved win, and it was not a win that was just given to someone because they're from the host country. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I would have changed anything about the season at all, really, at the end of the day. And I do think that Lemon is going to be one of the best queens to come from this franchise. Jack, I want to go ahead and get your final thoughts here on our new queen of the motherfucking world. And do you have any final thoughts on the season overall here to round out the podcast here?
I think Lemon's been doing since her first season, really like putting out her her brand, really putting out herself into the world. She's done music videos, she's done tours, she's done a lot. She's put herself out there completely. She has really as far as like Canadian queens from the series go, she's really made a stamp on the world for herself. Like people love Lemon, right? And it's not just that she's loved, but that she is getting this win. There's just the fact that like you see queens like Alyssa, you see queens like Trixie who like take this and like really go further with it. They like take this as like a diving board kind of thing and just like go for the whole like like brand building enterprise that they can build for themselves. And she really did do that. Like here she is just constantly selling herself to us and we're buying, girl. We're all buying. Like it was ridiculous to think that Lemon wasn't going to be one of the strong contenders. She has to go up against Alexis. She has to go up against Kennedy, Eureka, Cheryl, like all people who are now on their third or fourth time on the show. And then other competition like Fierce, who was the front runner in her season of the queens. We have Tynomi coming back, who's a well-known queen in Canada, and then of course we have a few other girls who maybe don't have the biggest names yet, but I think there's a lot to be said here when it comes to looking at this season and how strong of a cast we did have. And for her to come out on top, and not just come out on top, but like every single challenge be in the top, that's a really strong performance. And it it was definitely deserving of at least top two. And for her to win based on a lip sync that clearly she won, that's very deserving in my mind. Like there was never a better deserving queen this season. Not this season, sorry, this whole year, I think, as far as any of the queens that have won in this past year. I don't think there has been a better, more deserving queen based upon track record and their performance on the show than this. I think Lemon takes the cake easily. I think the crown looks great in yellow. I think we're continuing the tradition of 2024 being the year of yellow queen. Like we have banana, we have lemon. Like what do we need next? Are we gonna
Pineapple.
get someone pineapple? Maybe maybe who knows? Like who's a pineapple queen? Someone find them. Get them on the phone right now. We need them.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I do. I mean, I wouldn't say maybe like in the last like 5 years or so. Sasha Colby, there's definitely like a very very strong case to say that she's definitely one of the top queens that we've definitely ever had here. But oh my God, like I am a huge Lemon stan, obviously, so I definitely agree with the fact that Lemon is by far my favorite crown queen of 2024. And just again, things just finally feel at peace for me in the Drag Race universe, and I could definitely say at the end of the day that this whole experience will rank very highly, not just out of my favorite Drag Race seasons of the year, but definitely out of my favorite shows out of 2024 overall. So, hopefully, if y'all enjoyed it too, especially if you made it this far, let us know in the comments below because we'd love to hear from our listeners and interact with y'all in the comments. So, thank you again so much for listening to us all season long, and please like and subscribe because it lets us know that you're enjoying the content. And be sure to catch all of our continuing coverage on a bunch of other series going on here because as we head into the fall, we have nothing but TV to be watching, y'all. We have ongoing series like Big Brother 26 and Drag Race Global All Stars, and perhaps we'll be caught up on our Drag Race Mexico and Philippines watch parties at some point so we can get onto that content before those finales come out. And there's also a bunch of other new shows we're watching or coming soon, like Challenge Season 40, The Anonymous, as well as The Circle Season 7, which I'm sure we'll be attempting to cover on the channel in some way, shape, or form. So until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster, Jack, this is Renegade signing out, but remember to keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye!
Yellow queens, bye.